Hello. Hello, hello. I've decided to stream because I'm procrastinating again. It's fine sometimes. Sometimes procrastination is a better way to deal with it never is, but it's fine. Anyway, so they just dropped a lore bomb out of nowhere. Like there was a leak. There was a leak that said tomorrow is a teaser. Yesterday. And everyone was like, oh, it's us. And then it was correct. So I thought it was correct. So I expected a teaser, actually. Like, I was like 75% expecting that. But yeah, I did not expect so many characters. I was like, the Natlan teaser had way less characters. Hello, traveler. So yeah, the thumbnail is a bit beta, I guess, because I don't know what we should... Hello, OCG. I don't know what we should actually theory craft. But like, I mean, the leak gates are kind of open. There are some source information, and I thought it would be a good... I'm getting greeted by everyone. So I thought it would be a good idea. Like, I've never calked on stream, and I mean, some people do it, but I guess it's not that interesting. Like, it's just a sheet open. But yeah. I guess first of all I can just ask which one is your favorite out of the bunch that were dropped. Mine is by far the green girl. The danger woman. I guess there are multiple, but the one that looks like a snake. Are you going to get Colombina? It depends on her kid. I do like her a lot. But if she's just a carry, I don't want her. If she's a support, I'm definitely getting her. Natlan had like 8 teased characters. How many are the NOD-KRAI ones? I forgot. Colombina and Nicole for sure. Yeah, the thing is, like, all of these are so... They could cook so hard. I don't think a single element... Yeah, first of all, they had every single element, I think. Sandrone is a Geo, right? So, I think every element was represented. Which means that, like, there are... Like, and every element has a lot of room, or like, not a lot of room for improvement, but every element has like some kind of thing that we've been waiting for ages. In a Nemo, it's like a proper Nemo carry. In the Pyro element, it would be a Pyro sub DPS, which could be Alice, or a Ben replacement, which could be... NOD-KRAI got like 30. I see. But actually they did leak Capitan. Capitan was in the teaser, and then he ended up not being playable, right? Oh no, Sandra not going to be... Sandra going to be playable. They show... I don't know. Some people said she had she was Geo, but they didn't show her vision. It's not confirmed. But... And anyway, I'm really hoping that the 3 Dendro characters. It was the Dendro, the green girl, the Lauma. Oh, okay. Before I embarrass myself, I should probably look up the thing so I can just keep the names in mind. Okay, Nefa is the one I'm really excited for. Yeah, Nefa is definitely Dendro, right? And is I know the like small girl, is she confirmed Dendro as well? Because that would be 3 Dendro characters, which is huge for because Dendro is like the neglected element at the moment. I think the league said we should get a Fertility Taser in like 2 or 3 days, considering the NOD-KRAI overview was correct. Yeah, true. Like, yeah. Kind of really excited for that. I think Aino is Hydro? Wow, that's pretty cool. Touch. Wait. Why do I get wet when I touch it? But yeah, if Aino is Hydro, probably a 4-star, that could cook. Although the last Hydro 4-star was Dahlia. And if she's free, is there even a chance that she does something? I hope we get at least one. I know people don't like when they release like 4-stars that enable new archetypes. Like Chevy, for example, people didn't like that you kind of want C6 and stuff, and that you are baited into pulling on these banners. But in my opinion, Chevy was probably one of the best decisions they've made, because Chevy just made sense to do. So I really hope they do something like that with another 4-star. Like, because like if you get that unit C0, you can still play these archetypes. And you don't have to pull a limited 5-star, but if you want to improve the archetypes, you can pull for the C6. Or like make it so that the C1 and C2 are more impactful than the C6. That would also obviously be a nice thing. But yeah, obviously not that interesting for like unlimited cost stuff, because I think even in unlimited right now, no one uses Chevy, right? Like, because Chevy doesn't have any vertical other than like R5 Escoffier weapon. I think Veressa uses Xianyun, and Clorant uses a lot of different teams. She's unironically, she might be more flexible when you have C6. I think people still use Chevy just because Mavrika. And like if you put Clorant and Mavrika together, they might as well play Chevy, since there's no great other team you could try with that. I'd rather 4-star than 5-star niche support. Yeah, exactly. Like, Escoffier feels so weird regarding cost. Like, every Escoffier team is like 4 cost just by existing. They are so expensive. I still love those teams, don't get me wrong. But a lot of people also have cons on their Farina. Maybe that's the reason why she's a bit overrated at the moment, because a lot of people just have it's Villette all over again. People have the perspective of C2 Farina, but act like C2 Farina is C0 Farina. And C2 Farina, even in the Escoffier teams, is pretty nice. Like more C1 than C2. C2 is more for teams that either have her doing a big portion of their team's damage or couldn't get enough HP manipulation to get to max her fanfare as fast as possible, basically. With 2 supposed Android characters, hopefully Nilo usage would come back. I think AoE is back. I think it's basically confirmed that AoE is back. Like, there's no way that AoE isn't back, especially with Inefa being the first complete sub DPS. Okay, she also has a buff, but she's basically the first real sub DPS that basically deals damage in true AoE, like Nahida, but she actually does damage compared to Nahida. And she doesn't have a cap. Like, she doesn't have an 8 enemy cap. But she's really good for AoE stuff, even though the oh wow, I'm guessing it consistently. Even though, oh, what did I want to say? I forgot. No. My brain just crashed. I fully expect aggravate spread to be actually competitive. Yeah, true. Oh yeah. Inefa's AoE sucks. Or like, no. Inefa's AoE is really good, but the electro charged Luna charged. Oh my god, my brain. Luna charged AoE is not like, it doesn't have an AoE. But yeah. Kirawa wallpaper, yes. It's my other PC, so there's no Linny wallpaper, there's a Kirawa wallpaper. Yeah. The game has a lot of things that need to be added at this point. Like some kind of Bennett replacement, maybe. Buffering, excuse me. You are receiving enough video. What are you on about? Like some people expected an electric charge support in Netland. Yeah, I mean, we got one. She's not really a support, but she mostly does damage, but I think she was supposed, like, Inefa is the teased electro charge support. But I do think, like, it is confusing that Inefa enables Luna Charge, but then the 6.0 Electro unit is also supposed to enable the reaction, or like focus on the reaction. So do you, like, does it mean that you have to get both? Or does it mean that they just both individually enable the reaction? That is confusing. Is Auron technically that role? Yeah. Like, Auron is like actually just Ineffa, if you think about it. Like, Ineffa obviously does a lot more personal damage, but Auron trades the damage Hawk Scroll, and then Ineffa also has buffing, and okay, I guess Auron doesn't do like Auron does damage. Actually, they both do most of their damage through Ascension passives, so in a way they are similar. But I Scroll is kind of pissing me off because I feel like Scroll was such a lazy excuse for kit design. They can just be like, oh, okay, this character, yeah, they work in this niche, but then yeah, they can hold Scroll, so they are basically kind of universal. Because like you can use Auron in Chevy teams if you wanted to. So like I don't get it. Why was Scroll? Why did Scroll have to exist? He's not good at it, but his kit favors it. Yeah. I guess, yeah. Yeah, his best teams aren't EC teams. Although with Ineffa, they are. Actually, no. Best team should still be Mavrika Overload. I think what I really like about the new reactions, or like the new reaction for now, is that it doesn't scale with damage percent, and I think that's really interesting. Just having a source of damage that doesn't scale with a specific type of buffing, similar to like how DOT doesn't scale with crit. I just think it's interesting design. And it feels more interactive. Like which units you can use and which you can't, because the buffs don't apply. I guess you still end up using you die. Okay, I guess you still end up using Farina in Ineffa teams. Which is funny because Farina doesn't buff. You can give her Millilith, which would buff Ineffa's damage. But then also Ineffa scales so well with attack. You might actually consider getting more attack substats. Farina nerf. Yeah, I mean, it was to be expected. I still have the opinion that Farina should have just buffed reaction damage, because there's no overlap with... Okay, there is. Yeah, transformative... Yeah, it would have been transformative reaction damage percent. That's what I wanted her to buff, because otherwise there would be overlap with damage percent, where you have like two sources of buffing and that would kind of be too strong, like for just one singular buff. That made zero sense, but someone out there will understand what I meant. Anyway, if it was just transformative, then she would buff damage percent, she would buff healing, so she would buff crit focus damage, as well as healing, as well as reaction transformative damage. And then she would also buff EC damage, or Lunar Charge damage, and she would also buff Hyper Balloon damage. Yeah, the scaling would have needed to be like changed accordingly, because if you just give her 50%. 50% is yeah, horrible. If it's reaction damage for transformatives. It's fine for multiplicative, I think. But yeah. How does the Lunar Charge reaction damage work again? It's basically like it works. It basically factors in the base damage, and then it's multiplied by both reaction damage bonuses as well as crit and resistance. It doesn't scale with defense shred or defense shred, it just ignores defense. And if there's a difference between direct lunar charge scaling and the normal lunar charge scaling, which the other one is the way that Inefa does damage, which removes the base damage and it instead scales with the unit's attack, and that is multiplied by 3, because why not? I should just pull up the thing. I don't... wait. Lunar charge damage complete formula. Okay. Yeah, this is the base damage. Then... oh yeah, true. Inefa also directly buffs it, so that also needs to be factored in. Oh wait, I'm not showing the... oh, okay, now I am. But yeah, it's the base damage times 1 plus the Inefa passive, which is 14%, I think. I believe. And then it's multiplied by... the crit multiplier is so weird, because it's like everyone that participates has their own, like it scales with every single crit that's in the team, and basically every single... it's so complicated. I buy. Okay. Yeah, basically it calculates who for the characters that participated, like that applied elements during the process of Lunar Charge. So the Hydra and Electra characters, and possibly Kazuha. And it takes the way the damage would be calculated, which one would have the highest result, that is the highest damage, that is taken into account, and the second highest damage would be halved. So let's say Inefa has a decent amount of crit subs, and Farina has less crit subs, and Inefa also has a bit more Yem, because she has an Yem passive conversion thing. So Inefa would automatically have the highest, but if she doesn't crit, then Farina would have the highest, which means that you are also effectively getting less punished for not critting on certain... The only thing that's really confusing is why, like, does it show the crits? Like, does it actually show if it crit or not? Because, like, it can, like, it's multiple different things that can crit. Like, Farina can crit and then Inefa can crit. That's confusing. Or is it just always the same number and it just doesn't show if it crit or not? I don't know, it's confusing. But yeah, I think that every single lunar charge reaction will work like this. Probably with different base multipliers and yeah. I don't exactly know what is meant by like participating in the reaction, because like does that also mean like if there's a geo character that reacts with the EC, or like with the two auras, does that mean they are also participating? Ew, Gems bans. That's based. Okay, anyway. Yeah, that's it. That's enough. Complicated lunar charge mechanics. Anyway, I was thinking what, like I've already done all my dailies and stuff, so there's not much point in playing more Genshin. Kit predictions. I'm just going to do a document. Wait, I need to I don't want to leak any important documents. Okay, I will start with Hydro. If she's actually Hydro. She could, what could she do? Some kind of, we definitely need a Farina replacement. So, like, I guess baseline direction, buff, be like, buffing. And then, like, reaction, focus, buffing. Would Vaporize be too strong to buff? Probably not. Vaporize? Of DPS? The question marks. Too many question marks. I just hope Vaka isn't physical or plunge DPS. Yeah, that. Please. We don't need that. Yeah, if it's just applying a Hydro and Electro before the take, then it's just a battle between Farina and Inefa, and then like, yeah, who cares? I don't think that the crit thing is that big of a deal. Actually, it's still, I guess, nice that it scales with multiple. And then the direct scaling would not, like, would only scale with the crit of the character. That makes sense. Okay, sub DPS. I guess, like, Yelan replacement. Trust. Okay, and then buffer is or like carry is can we just cross that? This is basically just copied from the way that Jello does his predictions, but I like how he does his predictions, so I would just copy it. Yeah, I think carry is unlikely, and then sub DPS is like probably not. They've given up on physic? I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I mean, none of the characters that we got scream physical, so I'm pretty sure that we won't get physical stuff. Okay, I'm pretty sure that she's a 4-star and power level meh at C0, fine at C6. I gotta go soon. Okay, bye bye. Vaka. Okay, I'm pretty sure that Vaka is going to be a carry. I mean, it's obvious. Like, why would he be a support? Carry. I would love to see, like, I want to see Farazan in the best team, but Farazan doesn't buff attack in any way, so I would love to see like some kind of defense scaling. I do think it's very unlikely, so scaling, then like standard attack scaling crit focused. Yes, maybe one to use Durin, because like Durin I'm hoping for Durin to be the Bennett replacement, so maybe. Anyway. Wait. I mean, that's basically it. I don't think... I guess mobile? Like... Or like... I feel like that would be kind of fun. Jumps to different enemies. Not plunge. Oh, maybe a nuke. Front load in kit. Since we don't have that. Like, we don't have a single nuking Anemo character. Like, you know what I mean. I'm not saying that there are nukes in DPS or something. Like those damn TikTokers. TikTok theory crafting people that don't know how to theory craft. Anyway, does anyone know what element Nicole is going to be? Is she going to be Geo? Because like Albedo is Geo and she... Wait, no. Who had the connection with Albedo again? It wasn't Nicole. But she kinda gives me Albedo vibes from the design. I think she's Cryo. Okay, I will trust that. Okay, then we have meld DPS. I think that's definitely something that we need. And it's very likely. Never being Denver is such a letdown. I want another Anemo baddie. I don't know what they can do with the Nemo characters anymore. There's a lot of shit, there's a ton of things you can do with Dendo characters, but there isn't a lot that you can do with Anemo characters. Like, I guess what they should do is like make Anemo characters that want certain parts of the patch element, like they only want electro characters or they only want hydro characters or something, but that would also be kind of boring. I think Mizuki was a very interesting character, but yeah, they completely undertuned her numbers, so she's shit. My daughter is Albedo's mama, so if she becomes playable, I expect her to be Geo. Yeah, I accidentally switched up Nicole and Ryan daughter in my head. Okay, could also be support. But the thing is, what kind of physical? Which would be insanely unlikely. Oh, what's happening? Oh no. Okay. They could they could make a Farazan that heals. I don't think they are replacing Farazan. Or like, would you just run them together? Any more DPS with modern scalings? That's Vaka. And I doubt they make two characters with the exact same role. Disjoint has never been discussed yet. Not yet. We've basically just started. But yeah, Nicole, physical. I don't know what, like, Siglali and Escofia already cover like the entire element. So, for what else can a support do? I need to look at Project Amber. Oh wait. This Skug, maybe a Skug support. Yeah, I think that's likely. Last slot. I hope Valka has some connection to other Mond characters. Yeah, that would be cool. Imagine Valka having a similar moveset to Razor. I think, unironically, if he was just straight up a normal attack, Claymore carry, most boring way, I think that would still be interesting because we don't have like an Anemo fusion type Claymore carry. And maybe just Anemo Diluc. That's what I'm thinking. But Anemo Diluc with modern numbers. And that could just be like attack speed plus attack damage percent plus I think it would be interesting because like I already feel like her like Mona is already a nice enough support for like her Skirk's front-loaded playstyle. So I hope that the Skirk support would like expand on the normal attack. So normal attack, crit damage. They need to introduce new types of buffing. Oh yeah, Death Shred. Yeah, then XP plus Death Shred. Surely. Actually, I can add this onto the buffer. Everyone is getting Death Shred. Okay. Dark support. Oh, true. I think attack percent actually, because she's already like flat attack isn't the best idea because her base attack is insanely high. Oh my god, Flip! I didn't even see that Flip joined. Hello, Flip. Jehoda has magnets all over her design. I don't know why people call her a vape Chevy. Who's Jehoda again? Oh, this one. I have no idea what this character is supposed to do. Is she Geo? I'm so clueless. Yeah, I know 4 stars is definitely true. I should just remove this. This is on Saga era, in my leaker era, pulling leaks out of my ass. Anyway, next person. Lauma. Okay. That we know, that's confirmed. We just get confirmed. Okay, I think carry is kind of unlikely. But it could still happen, so like yellow. And then Bloom support. Big caps. It's happening. The Bloom buff is happening. Then it's like Luna Bloom, which was basically already leaked. Hopefully Rhymegrass. No, get Rhymegrass out of here. I don't want to see Rhymegrass. Okay, I don't mind it that much, but I just feel like it's kind of boring. I like that Cryo and Dendro don't react right now. It means that you can melt, like use Dendro burning to melt. I guess they could still try to do it with like even, but I feel like it would just mess things up. I really hope she works with Nido. Yes, okay. Luna Bloom, dedicated Nido support. Replaces Nahida. Or replaces Kole. Insane vertical trust. Okay. I guess she could also be like a universal create a universal Dendro reaction buffer, which I think is less likely. Any more predictions for... Okay, I guess I can include Ryan Grass. I'm a Ryan Grass hater. Okay, anyway. Durin. I'm pretty sure we know that he's a 5-star. Some people say he's a 4-star, but I don't think... They literally teased him 2 years ago or something. No, 1 year ago, but like he's that old, and I feel like if a character is that old, there's no way they are just a 4-star. Okay, Yansan was... Yeah, okay, Yansan was... But he's also lore relevant. Okay, fine, I can make Rhyme Grass green. So, Bennett replacement. We need one. We need one. Bennett placement without a strict condition. And Sun dead. This is leaked by me. Skill damage. Yeah, I feel like we do need for skill focused carries. I mean, it's basically just Kinnick. That it? Oh, Navia as well. True. Okay. Skill focused buffing. I think that could cook. Off-field skill damage, so we can use Festering Desire for maximum drip. Oh, true. Off. Yeah. And that's like skill focused. Yeah, I'm keeping the I'm keeping the pyro off-fielder for Alice, because I really want Alice to be the pyro. We can do Alice next. He's Top DPS trust. Xiangling downscale, yes. Downscale? Okay. I want a Pyro app without non-burst range. Small buff. Stays on defense. Uses emblem. Trust. Okay. I don't think these two are likely, but it would be cool. This is more likely. I don't know why people hate death scalers so much. It's just death. Like, death scaling doesn't inherently mean that they are cooked. It just means they have less access to buffs. Yeah, but that also means that they are probably getting overtuned in terms of the same way HP characters get very high scalings for their HP stuff, because there's no HP buffing. And defense has the best, like, defense stands is 58 or something, and substats are higher, and they also scale better with top stats, because not only is it higher, but it's also like the substat itself is higher. Mic is dying. Why is the mic dying? Mic is dying a little. Oh no. Now. Did I destroy it? Oh no. Falling into the back room. Oh no, I hope it came back. Don't really care for defense scaling, but I hope that Yar needs aren't abysmal. Yeah. Me too. Is it really that bad? Is it? Please tell me it's back to normal. I'll never glaze Xiangling with those stupid energy recharge issues. I agree. Okay, anyway. I guess literally the same thing as Dorin. It could also just be a Bennett replacement. He looks less like a Bennett replacement, but you can just do the same thing. Okay. It's getting worse. Oh no. Has to be. Is it still very bad? Properties. Everything is it should be fine. I just can't hear myself. That's why. Could it be a cable problem? I just tried everything. It doesn't seem to change. Okay. He's sounds better. Okay. Thank goodness. Sounds like it's windy. Oh, that's my thing. I don't want to die, so I have this climber thing that cools me. The thing that has cooling in it. I don't know. It's very loud, so not a fan, but it has a built-in fan. Anyway, let's go over to Nefa. We're gonna do Nefa. Okay, Nefa is what? Oh. There's no way everyone is a 5-star, but one can hope. Oh, that is probably what. Yeah, but why did it not pick up? Because it was always that noise. Like, it always had that noise. Okay, anyway. Top DPS. Aggravate. Red. Only. What? I think this is like frost. Yeah, I think the holder also looks like a froster. Oh, I'm excited for Flynn. Like what the kid is going to be, because electric characters are so interesting. Anyway. Aggravate spreads. Yeah, support. Buffer. Healer. I don't know, she gives me like a offensive healer vibes, kind of like she don't. Popping. Depth shred. Is it just me or there is static? Yeah, that's the thing that's in the back. Okay, anyway. Let's go back. I don't know what else Nefer could do. Jeder? CA support. I've cooked up a kit recently. I'm just going to mark it as a red because it's not happening. But I did a really cool and interesting kit that had both AoE scaling, flat damage, and damage percent all like combined to one. with a Dendro that specifically doesn't want to be played with other Dendro characters, and she's basically, she would be the perfect Novelet support, but also a really good Settlers support, and I thought that would be so cool, because we already have a normal attack support, why don't we have a charge attack support? Oh true, yeah. Burning Virgin. I think burning is unlikely because like Emily's already in that need. I don't think getting replaced. Virgin support is far-fetched. I don't think it is. If they like actually care about Bloom coming back and they are reintroducing AoE abysses, then Virgin could also like be something that they're interested in. Okay, anyway, next character. Columbina. I'm scared. She's confirmed to be Hydra, right? Okay. Yeah, I know she like she doesn't use the burning itself, but I don't think it would make that big of a difference. Like, yeah, you could play burning. Like, I think the main issue would just be that like burning teams are basically already completed. So I think they aren't rebuilding burning. I don't think burning is relevant enough to get rebuilt, if that makes sense. Like to be a transformative reaction focused again. But they could, I guess they could start. Might be similar to like front-loaded buffing. I think, yeah, that would be interesting. Oh wait, no. I don't think it's damage percent because Inefa, so it's probably right. No, actually, Inefa doesn't work with defense red either. Maybe it's crit taken. Like crit rate taken. Like you have increased for Mona. But crit damage. Basically a crit damage buffer. Luna burning being a better neighbor would be fun, I guess, but you can pay. I think it's already finite enabling. I think she's from. I think Nefa is from Sumeru. She looks like a Sumeru character. She basically has Lisa's skin, although a bit differently, and she could be from the desert. I don't know what they're cooking, so unironically I will just yellow because I don't know. I was saying Never is by her Egyptian eye thing. Yeah, I think so too. And Sumeru needs new characters, especially gender characters. Looks like she is her item to be. That would be the first good thing about our item. But true it is. Okay, she kinda looks like how I would imagine Baiju's snake to look like if she was a real person. I don't know. You are so looking. Nicole, actually Nicole as well. Okay, in I'm guessing 4-star, and I don't know what element. Can anyone tell me what element they're thinking? Human function. Yeah, I think so. That she looks like that. And wait for. I've already seen Wanderer edits. You probably. Yeah, true. Okay, Geo 4-star. Gary. Okay, I have a very strong feeling that she will be like a Gaming. Trust. Like, she will be very strong, a very strong 4-star carry, and she will revive Chiori. So Chiori is relevant again. Trust. And she will replace Ito. I guess she could also be like a... Or... Oh no. Yo. If they like don't buff Goro, then... Sorry. Why is my throat dying? Anyway, if they don't intend on buffing Goro anytime soon, which I don't think they are, then they should replace Goro ASAP. Goro is horrible as a support. One of the reasons why Ito is so shit. But yeah, Ito also doesn't have numbers. Yeah, true. She could also be... Like, why is my throat dying? Lynn's next. Flip. Make it scary. Focus. Are we getting him next patch? Is he the leaked Electro character? Or like the patch after next? Your throat caught a cold from your mic. Oh no. Crystallize support. Oh, true. That's the wrong. If EC focus, why use fire? I guess he does use fire. But I don't think we're getting another overload carry. Overvape. Yeah, I don't think anyone is using overvape in 2025. EC focus. I like Nick. I just think that isn't he the one that's supposed to come in 6? Okay, let's look at this. 3 4-star Hydro Claimer. True, I didn't even give my predictions for the weapon types. Nicole looks like a catalyst, although they wouldn't do the catalyst for the 35th time because they've released so many in a row. Maybe. Oh god. Catalyst. I think she's also confirmed. But she bow. That looks like a sword. Maybe okay. Maybe she's another king. Big catalyst vibes. But maybe polyarm. I don't think they are doing another cryo catalyst. Okay, sword, bow, wait. Sword. 3. 3. 3. 4. Okay, so probably Claymore then. Since we don't have a single 5-star Claymore. So he will just be electric. Yeah, Jehoda looks like a character. Like she probably has a bat or something. Maybe point out. Yeah, okay, could also. But like we just got one. We just got an FR. I'm betting on Claymore. I think this is likely. Because in Nefa, I think they realized, hopefully, that Kinnick not buffing Emily in any way is a big downside. Because that means that putting Emily in the team actually doesn't help Kinnick in any way. It's just for other things. But if like for energy generation and easier scroll application, but like if there was an actual reason, like yes, team wide buffs, he has like maybe, you know, I always forget that defense shred doesn't. But yeah, if he has some kind of, if he has more attack buffing, that would be interesting because then he would buff Nefa's attack and Nefa would buff his EM, so he doesn't need to build EM. But yeah, I feel like he should just buff Nefa as well because Nefa is a great sub DPS. Anyway, now we get to the last character. Then we are done. Wait, did I do? I don't think I did. I think the team might attack buff is maybe less likely. Sundrone, maybe not even playable. I would say a 5-star G. Then she's like a. New construct is a big roll. Right. Yeah, his or like Sundrone's big ass thing counts as a construct and it does 1 billion damage, and when there's when there's a doll on field when there is a Chiori doll on field, then he will do 1 million times more damage. Trust. I think I got everyone. Wait, did I got mixed all right? Do we really only have one cryo? Buffing other geo construct damage makes you are able to support. Yeah, but Chiori doesn't. That's what I was thinking as well. But Chiori doesn't count as a construct, which, in my opinion, is so stupid. Like she should have just encouraged building multiple construct, but that she doesn't even have a construct herself. Maybe C1 should have counted as a construct. It make it count as a construct, although I don't know. Should have just made one into C0 because she's a limited 5-star. Unless they're cooking with the geo construct. And drone Signora treatment, probably. The Signora Capitano treatment. What if she just buffs summons? Does Chiori... Is there a different... Because Emily and Yaimiko have turrets, but does Chiori count as a different thing? Because like you can move it around. That would be interesting if it was like summons, quote unquote, and then summons is both constructs and Chiori's daughter. That would be. But yeah, I think you're cooking. I also wish they didn't specifically say Geo construct, because it would have been so fun if, if non-Geo characters could do constructs. Because I don't think constructs should be for Geo only. Like imagine a Dendro construct, like a tree or something. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. I guess you don't construct a tree, you just plant a tree, but you know what I mean. Like there would be some kind of... Yeah. And yeah, but the construct limit means that if you had Zhongli shield, something everything. Yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully Dahlia is a sign of other limit constructs. Dahlia? The Bob? Official and never get buffed as well. I guess, yeah. But I wouldn't mind that. If the buffs are still mostly... Like if the team she builds around are still mostly... Like she wouldn't be able to hold or something, so she wouldn't function like Shilon. Grow. Overworld torches and fireplaces basically work like geoconstructs. True. That's true. Oh god, it's that one, the music from that game that everyone hates. The Animal Crossing game that everyone thinks isn't real. It is pretty shit, but it has some fun elements. I've played it. Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Something. Anyway. I think a parry carry. Oh, true. Yeah. True. We need a parry. Overworld torches blocking electric charge during rain is always funny when it happens. I never had that happen. Okay, I unironically kinda like the event. I know I've heard some people just straight up say that events these days are completely shit and that they aren't fun. And I'm like, well, do you just always want like events where you can like just combat events? Is every event supposed to be a combat event? I don't think that would be interesting long term. I do like that they have events like these. Make enemies more aggressive. That would be interesting. Wow. Oh, this is how it works? On PC? No way. Oh no. So clunky. Okay, I need to log in. These three I can do. Event is very boring. Oh, it's 3 Brimos. I don't... Yeah, it should be shorter in my opinion. I like that you still use elemental reactions, but it should be more implemented in the game. Like you basically just... Oh, you have to use Pyro against the Overload. Pyro against the Electro Slimes to trigger Overload. Wow. I feel like it should be multiple different... Oh wait, laser. Oh no! No! Okay, stop! Okay, good. I might be the only one that likes these friends. Parries are inconsistent. Yeah, true, true. There would be like some kind of a mechanic that would mean that you can't... that you can full charge it, kind of like Genshin. I think that would be fine. If you get a parry, then you get it basically. Final wave. Okay, maybe it's not that interesting. Oh wait, this is very... I like some of them, but not this one. Yeah, I guess the controls are very clunky. Like, I thought you would just move the keys, which would have made sense, but no, you have to roll with your mouse. Okay, I like that you can shatter in this event. Let's peek. Shatter mentioned. Controls for PC are awkward in many ways for this game, yeah. Like things to operate it with the keyboard instead of with the mouse, I agree. It makes me angry. But that was not smart. No! Oh no! Why did Flip text one singular message and then left? What an unloyal fan. Maybe he had better things to do. I mean, I always stay like 5 minutes in his streams because I also always have better things to do. Nothing against Flip. So I shouldn't. Flip said shush and just tipped. Okay, last wave. Okay, we did it. I like that Superconductor strong in this event. Yes, it's strong for one time. Very rare. I still need the answer in constellations. I'm enjoying your stream on the backgrounds. Oh, my viewers are so sweet. Anyways, we should probably do something else now, because there's nothing to do in Genshin. Should we react to something? I've never reacted to something before. It's the easiest form of Genshin content. Just react to someone. doesn't need. Every lunar charged reaction in NOD-KRAI. Yeah, I don't think this person is cool. I don't want to leak my recommended because I feel like that would low-key be a bit embarrassing. But do we react to that bit? Oh, I wanted to react to the how Natlan changed the meta. If anyone's wait, I will just go pull. React to Jeff. Natlan. So Jeff wasn't mentioned and the viewers are going down. That's I understand that. So Jeff is definitely a person of all time. But I'm literally like I'm live commenting. Okay, we are voting for yes. There's 2 votes.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome. Hi, to a video about how Natlan completely changed the meta. Before we talk about any of the changes that came with Natlan, we need to take a look back and talk about what the meta looked like at the end of Fontaine. In the last patch before 5.0, the most recently released characters were Ibili, Sijuan, that didn't really impact the meta all that much. And so the most recent the meta. Before we talk about any of the changes that came with Natlan, we need to take a look back and talk about what the meta looked like at the end of Fontaine. In the last patch before 5.0, the most recently released characters were Ibili, Sijuan, that didn't really impact the meta all that much. And so the most recent meta-relevant characters at the time were Chlorine, Arlecchino, Chanyun, others. Back then, the best looking at sheets only were hovering around 100k DPS. In practice, most of them didn't actually reach it, but there were a few Arlecchino, Chanyun, others. Back then, the best teams in the game, looking at sheets only, were hovering around 100. DPS. In practice, most of them didn't actually reach it, but there were a few that at KQM standard were getting really close, and if you gave them favorable assumptions, could actually get through the threshold. When you looked at the strongest teams power-wise at the time, it was mainly the Arlecchino Overload teams, with Arlecchino, Bennett, Chevreuse, Fischl. The Neuvillette teams, which at the time were mainly Neuvillette, Kazuha, Farina, +1, and a
Hello? Oh no. Which part did you all not hear? I only hear typing noises and the video. Why did it not? Oh no. I literally talked the entire time. Okay, it's fine. Anyway, this Neuvillette team definitely wasn't the peak without Shelona. Like, it's better with Shelona, but yeah. This was nowhere near Arlecchino. Arlecchino Overload or something.
+1, the best one at the time was Zhongli, but you could also use something like Baiju or Charlotte if you wanted to.
Yeah, Zhongli also, she did like I think Lisa was the highest peaking because she has the
being
most interesting, or like most unique buffs.
not that far behind 100k, and often.
No, okay. This part was sent to me multiple times. Haven't heard you since the okay. Stop falling. This part, Hyperbloom was never close to 100k. This is fishy. I smell fishy activity. Treasure blind. We assume the best of the Hyperbloom team with Raiden, Yelan, so Nahida. Wait, no, that's okay. Anyway, this is 100k, but this is huge. This one's 95k, but I'm pretty sure it's GC scammed. This one is way more realistic. Only one, okay, one Yelan is, but you see how the damage varies based on the sim. Okay, what's going on in this one? Yeah, Hyperbloom is the jeez. Yeah, I got like 50k DPS. A few of the comments were calling the 100k Hyperbloom cope. Yeah, because it is. This is. I'm pretty sure this is GC sim scammed. The thing is, I don't have anything to back it up, but yeah, just look at the difference between those different tracks. There is something going on, something fishy. Anyway, let's continue.
Also,
Oh yeah. Anyway, what I wanted to say, obviously, the better the team, the worse was the difference between between Hyperbloom and other teams. KQM was already outdated, so there was no. The difference between Hyperbloom and these teams wasn't like 10k DPS. It was bigger than that, especially with higher substats, because KQM just assumes 28 6 subs. I forgot.
so quite popular at the time. There were some Linny teams as well for people that were tryharding their Linny rotations. But at the time, a character being around 100k in their best team was really good. You looked at characters like Client, whose best team at the times were generally somewhere between 80 and 90k, and Client was considered fairly solid. But then Natlan started, and we didn't start off too strong.
This is a lie. Moalani completely broke speedrunning. There's speedrunning before Moalani and speedrunning after Moalani. That's how impactful she was. And even to this day, she's very, in Abyss scenarios, she's very close to Marika. If they are both given similar opportunities. Just because of her front load and her other, like, damage upsides. Mainly because of her front load. Oh no, this is not true.
Started with a character that was fairly well received.
Of course, if you're playing a shit team like
but
this.
still had enough issues that it didn't feel like a major change to the meta, right? With
What? Excuse me? Okay, Gilonen helped Morlani a lot. The thing is, like, he's specifically, okay, Morlani, yeah, I get it, like, she's harder to play and stuff. I personally don't think she is. But, yeah, he literally talked about Lily also being able to reach very high performance. So why does he not mention Morlani's performance? Why is it Morlani was, yeah, not that big of a deal? It was a big deal.
Molani and Kinich also to some extent. And then Shilonen came out, and Shilonen was very popular. A lot of people ended up going for her. But as much as Shilonen gave your teams a lot more options, there weren't too many teams where Shilonen was a major upgrade at the time. And she also wasn't really a major upgrade to the ceiling of your teams at the time either. As
Morlani? Shilonen like massively increased Morlani's ceiling. So I don't why? What is this Morlani underestimating? And I mean, Gelona also heavily buffed Neuvillette because Neuvillette didn't have anything before that would buff him. Like the last sword was kind of dead, but with Shidonen, okay, still a bit dead, but yeah, it's a very nice upgrade over your other options. Like you would take Katina, and that you gain the resistance rate and healing, which the healing actually kind of messes in this arena team because you can. It's easier to upkeep Neuvillette's highest. The thing that people don't realize is that this passive is actually kind of good. Like he has two strong passives. One is obviously very, very strong and he needs it for his damage, but the other one is not that bad as well. It's this 30% hydro damage bonus, and the healer isn't there for better fanfare generation, it's just to get better uptime on this passive. And Gilonen kind of enabled that. It's not that big of a deal, but it was solid. So yeah, it was a decent upgrade over Puccini. I don't get what he's talking about. Like, Girona also enabled characters to not be shit in multi-wave. Yeah, true. Kachina was also, I don't know why he doesn't mention Kachina at all. Kachina was a big deal for Navia and other characters.
Say that perception initially, Green Atlan of 100k being a really good team, 80 to 90k being a solid team, and 70k-ish being, you know, at least like alright. With Shilonen, I'd say that the alright benchmark went up a little bit, but the ceiling and the like really good benchmark stayed mostly the same. Then we got Chaska, who was, you know, fairly similar to previous carries, and then we got the big patch. Oh boy. Mawika came out, and Mawika was a major jump. Mawika's best team on release hovered around 130k, which is just outright about 30% higher than the previous best teams.
Okay, I would have mentioned, I know he's talking about Mawika, but I would have mentioned Silali first, because Silali had the way bigger impact on the ceiling of the game compared to Mawika. So like, I don't know why you want to go first.
On top of that, Mawika's burst was so powerful that it also raised the overall level of the teams of a lot of other carries, because Mawika just went through...
This is the Neuvillette Mawika melt argument. I'm not even going to comment on that.
And your team DPS went up. For example, Klein's teams became like 10-20% better, not because Mawika was a better support for Klein, but because Mawika was doing as much damage as Klein did.
No. Can we quit? Can we stop? Okay, I said that if someone has a seizure, then we can stop. I'm having a seizure. I don't want to go. What does that take? What is he up? What is he yapping about? He just showed Mavica doing
became like
125k.
10-20% better. Not.
And her off-field damage is even worse than her on-field damage. It's like, so it's less than 300k or something. Obviously, this isn't with the answer, but the answer wasn't released. So I don't know where this take is coming from. It's 300k DPR compared to Chlorant, who did more than 1 million. How is that in any way, shape or form comparable to each other?
Is a better support for Fly,
and people don't say that he isn't a Jenna Chester.
And that wasn't only the case for Chloe, right? Chaska, Kinich to some extent, Navia to some extent. There were quite a few characters that got some pretty nice improvements.
You just hate Kinich to one extent. You want to play deep, but not deep. You don't want to play Obsidian, not Vika. What is he talking about?
Their best teams because of Malika. That's without mentioning Sitlali, who also gave quite a few characters.
Well, that's without mentioning Sitlali. Okay, Sitlali was... yeah, Sitlali was there, I guess. She didn't just casually raise the ceiling of the entire game. Okay.
Characters improvements to their best teams, and also gave a lot of different options even to characters whose best team didn't include Sitlali, such as Nevilette at the time. Having a shielder option that also let you do some freeze was pretty nice. But the thing about Maoika's release is that Maoika didn't come alone. Maoika was accompanied with an increase to your DPS requirements. DPS requirements have been slowly but surely increasing basically.
Okay, this is just factual, so I don't need to dispute right now.
But if you look at the difference between 4.0 and 5.0, hovered between 2.5 and 3.5, and then in 5.0 was around 5. I guess 4.0 was a lot lower, but like 4.3, right? Hovers around 4 mil DPS requirement. 5.0, it's a little bit under 5. And 5.3, closer to 6. And after that, we keep going up and up and up. And now we're at around 8, with the leaks for the upcoming Abysses being closer to 9. This is millions of total HP. But along with that, we also have started getting more enemies that have a decent amount of stalling. That Maoika patch release, right, had DPS requirements around 5 mil or higher. I say DPS requirement, I mean total HP, damage requirement, whatever. But also a YOB shield that isn't counted towards that HP. The Swanee stall mechanics, the void shields, massive void shields. Nowadays, teams that sim at around 70k.
Okay, I get what he's talking about, and I think they've done this a lot more in Natlan, but I think they've also done this in Fontaine. Like, Fontaine enemies also had this. It takes longer to, first of all, break their shields, and why you don't. Like, both the seahorse and the crab, I don't know, they feel kind of shit. Without the, like, if you don't have the Neuvillette who spreads through the pyro thing, pyro crab, then yeah, it does take a decent amount of time. And same with the Electro Horse. I mean, Ayaka didn't have Escofia at the time, and I guess you can play Benajaming teams, but if you didn't play those teams, it would also be cool. If you did play those teams, it didn't take that much. Maybe he's right, but oh, the Geo Horse human that was released in the Arlecchino region. That one's also, if you don't have Zhongli who shreds through the shield, which, like, that's literally just one character, it does take a decent amount of time.
Even if you have very good builds on them and end up higher than 70k, a lot of them find themselves struggling in the current Abysses, let alone in the new Stygian Onslaught mode. The theoretical DPS requirement is lower than 70k still, but a team that sims at 70k does not get anywhere close to 70k DPS in practice when you include spawn animations, movement, enemy stall mechanics, potential gameplay issues, needing to make sure you finish with bursts up, or before starting without energy. When you take everything into account, generally, a team will only start being able to clear fairly comfortably when its sheet DPS is about twice the actual DPS requirement. So if the actual DPS requirement is 50k,
Okay.
generally...
I don't know about this, but I can't. He's kind of just saying this without having any backup, and I can't back up what he says either. So I don't know. I don't know what. Double sounds a bit harsh though.
You'll need about 100k sheet DPS to be able to clear that
be
comfortably
right,
without having to reset for a good run. And these DPS requirements keep going up and up, as I was saying. And that's just gotten even more intense with Maoika's release. It's not a new thing that DPS requirements keep climbing, but think of it this way. Global warming. The seas rising. We've been living in a normal-ass city for a long time. Sea level rising hasn't been a problem because our current elevation was much higher than the sea level, so it didn't affect us for the longest time. But it's now getting closer and closer to our actual level of elevation. That's basically what's going on here. DPS requirements rising and rising wasn't that big of a problem if you knew what you were doing previously, because it wasn't rising so fast that it was catching up to what people looked at for like KQM standards, default investment, but they're inching closer and closer to the DPS that those teams are able to output. And it's starting to get to the point where even like teams that make sense, right? Not just like teams where you just put 4 units you like, right? Teams like a Shao carry team, like a good Shao carry team, it's starting to get to the point where a good Shao carry team might find itself struggling to just reach the DPS requirements, even if your team makes sense.
Like, I think this is just... This is... Like, what he's saying is correct, yeah. But I feel like Nutland has provided enough upgrades, unless it's certain type of units, like Xiao and Wanderer, that you can invest into all the characters with new supports, which is still scammy, I know, but they have to encourage you to get new characters in some way. You can't just have the same team for the entire game and expect to clear it with, yeah. I don't think the same way as Flip saying natural game progression, yay. I do think that this Nathan was a big, huge step up in terms of power creep and HP inflation. But I don't know. I need. We're probably doing a podcast episode about this eventually, and then I can hear other people's opinions, because I don't think I have that insane of an opinion. Okay, I will let
and you have decent
more.
builds. If they stop increasing DPS requirements entirely starting now, I think those 70k DPS teams are still just barely like fine. Like at a good level of investment, you'll be able to clear. But if things keep going at the pace they've been going, I think those 70k DPS teams are going to be actually just impossible to clear with 6 or 7 patches from now. I think we're already getting to the point where Instant and Onslaught, the carries that hover around that 70k mark, I think they're already at the point where they kind of just can't clear any of the bosses in Onslaught. Carries like Shao are still just barely hanging on for the current Onslaught because the Lava Dragon statue does a lot of self-damage, so you can still clear that specific boss. But once we start getting into bosses that don't do a lot of self-damage, things are gonna start getting a little too rough. Anyways, after Maoika came out, I think that
what was
characters...
that voice change? Things are getting a bit too rough. That sounded... yeah. Yes, Stygian is ass. I can agree on this. It's way too restrictive, and although I think it's more so, it's less so that like if an outdated team can deal with the mechanics of Stygian, then I think it can still clear Stygian at the difficulty 5, even if it's really highly invested. But you need signatures and stuff. But yeah, if you can't deal with the mechanics, then nothing nothing can help you. So I mean, yeah, great game mode.
Started becoming a lot more specific in the sense that the characters released after Maoika either had a very specific purpose or were just not intended to be good, right? Lanyan is a character who's intended to be a VV option that is also defensive utility, and Lanyan is amazing at what she does. Yume Glor clearly was not intended to be good. They made her a standard character. They intentionally kept her that. Eon San, they stopped
Okay, I don't
increasing.
think they intentionally made her garbage. I think they were actually thinking that Mizuki was going to work because they doubled her swirl buff. They literally doubled her swirl buff. I don't think people realize this, but yeah, and it was still not enough.
Eon San, very strong attack buffer. Varissa, a carry that is actually above those old 100k DPS ceiling. Aoife, clearly not a unit that was intended.
Okay, yeah, well, I don't know if this is his take, but I don't think Varessa is significantly above Tunic, Chaska, and Mualani. I don't even think Varessa is better than Mualani, so... He called it Varessa has the post-Mavrika syndrome, but I don't think that's the case. Varessa has the not-ban carry syndrome, not the post-Mavrika syndrome.
To be very good. Escoffier, need I say anything? Dahlia, I think, was pretty clearly intended to be a last lot option in Skirk teams if you didn't have characters like Shenhe. He's pretty decent at it, but not insane. And Skirk, also pretty noticeably above those old 100k DPS ceilings that we had.
I don't get this take. I think you can say this about contained characters as well. Durand was supposed to be a pretty decent carry, and it worked. Settles and Siege Queen were not supposed to be good, so they aren't good. But I don't get this argument.
Meta now looks
Maybe I
very
misunderstood
different
it.
from the meta back before Natlan. Pretty much any of the carries that came out in Natlan, if they came out before Natlan with their DPS was the same as their current strongest team, they would have been in the running for the like best carry after Nebula. But nowadays, outside of Maoika and Skirk, pretty much all these Natlan carries are just okay. They're gonna be good in content that is designed for them. Like,
did he just say Nathan carries outside of Skirk and Mavrika are just okay? Are we being serious? I don't even know what this agenda is. What is he trying to agenda? Yes, Skirk is actually a step above Nathan carries. That's true, but the Nathan carries, every single one of them is still excellent, especially Mualani and Varessa. Oh, well, what is he yapping about?
Kinich against the Lava Dragon, but that's kind of it. Varissa's like in the middle.
Kinnick against the Lava Dragon? Sure. What about Kinnick against the Papilla? Oh, what about that? And yeah, that's the shield. That's where they are the best. That's where their teams can even outperform Mavikas because of shielding. But just in normal matchups, they are still pretty decent. They are not just okay.
The release of Siege Onslaught also introduced content that both has a much higher DPS requirement than Abyss does, and does not give a about AoE or grouping very much. Technically, there can still be boss mechanics that do favor AoE, like the mini tulpas that favor having a way to apply your elements in AoE. But it's mainly single target content that has a pretty high DPS requirement, and that is long enough that you're guaranteed to need multiple rotations, which makes characters with better quality of life and better AoE, but worse damage, generally just worse than the characters that have slightly better damage, even with much worse quality of life.
He's speaking around the thing, but just means that maybe that is shit in Stygian onslaught, which I agree. Unless you have vertical with that, but C0 R0 with that C0 R0 Karina isn't cutting it. I think his perception of melee units is warped since he pulled all of them and all the units much more reserved. I think so too, yeah.
Onslaught was a massive nerf to Nevilette's value overall. Because if the main
he literally this is character improvement.
Content that people are preparing their account for is single target boss only content. Characters like Nevilette are just average in the realm of carries, right? Nevilette, even with the current strongest Nevilette teams that Nevilette did get improvements to his teams with Natlan. His strongest teams are still below 110k. They hover between 100 and 110k at KK Unstaggered investment. And nowadays that's just that's good, but it's not impressive. It's where all the good carries stand, basically. It's pretty close to where Verissa stands, pretty close to where Arlecchino stands. Whereas
this is bad. Okay, the thing is about Neuvillette is also that none of this you literally can't play him in anything again. You cannot kill him in the mode right now because he doesn't have any good matchup. So yeah, but I don't think that Neuvillette isn't close to Veressa or Kinnick or anything. I think he's still lower. Because I'm pretty sure that Kinnick is above 110k. And Chaska should also be. I'm not sure. But yeah, Neuvillette. I guess with Inefa, but Inefa is just... Inefa isn't the Neuvillette buffer. Inefa just does her own damage and Neuvillette happens to give Inefa a spot in the team. So yeah.
Back at the end of Fontaine, before Natlan, Neuvillette was by far the best carry. In Stygian Onslaught, I'd say that Neuvillette is actually pretty close to Arlecchino in power. The current Stygian Onslaught favors pyro carries much more than hydro carries, so Neuvillette is much worse than the current Stygian Onslaught.
Does he mean Neuvillette is still better than Arlecchino in Stygian Onslaught?
But do remember, that's because the current one
that's
is very
funny.
pyro favored. Nowadays, if what you're trying to do is get a powerful meta account, you don't really care about Abyss. Not because Abyss doesn't matter, but because if you prepare for Stygian Onslaught, since Abyss is easier, you'll be able to do Abyss accidentally, almost. And it'll just happen by itself. And I'd say that when it comes to the sort of characters that you care about getting nowadays, generally, you're looking for characters that fit a few specific team cores. You want characters that can function orthogonally. You want characters who don't share supports, ideally, or who have options to not share supports. Because when you need 3 teams, that's a lot of supports you're gonna need. So if all the carries you go for are carries that want Bennett, you're gonna find yourself struggling in 2 of your teams. Generally,
that's
you're gonna
why
have
I
one
think
team.
Durand is so good, because she doesn't... She will always have some kind of suboptimal team that doesn't steal any supports. If they buff aggravate, then Durand could unironically maybe rely on... I thought maybe aggravate would still share supports, I don't know.
Team that uses Bennett, maybe one team that uses Farina, and maybe one team
But
that
yeah,
uses
current
Fiddlers.
obviously has
In this
other
specific case, for me, it would be something like this. And then there's going to be potentially a couple changes based on the current matchup. So if you look, for example, at the upcoming Abyss, at the upcoming Stygian Onslaught, the Turtle is pretty bad for pretty much all of the teams that function with these. Turtle is pretty heavily designed for Molani, so you'll probably bench one of these.
He literally has every single Nathan carry. I didn't even
3
realize.
baselines to use Molani if you have her, Otherwise, the best alternative is likely going to be Freeze. So you can have your Freeze team against the Turtle. You want an Electro or Hydro Carry team against the Cactus. Ideally Electro Charge, but if you don't end up getting a Nefa and your Farina's busy, it kind of reduces your options a lot. So you might end up for a Shovelers team instead. But even if you don't go for a Shovelers team, if your Farina's busy, you probably do something that looks like a Shovelers team, but just slots in a Hydro unit instead. Because if this is like your default Shovelers teams, right? If the default teams you're using are something like this, well, you can still use this against Turtle, you can use this against Papilla, and against the Cactus, you can either stick
can
to
you
this,
use the
or
Mavrika team against Papilla? Does Mavrika have enough hits? I guess with charge attack, N1D ban would work. I mean, Silali also hits. I don't know.
it turns out that using Electro Charge is worth the damage loss, you would stick to the same core and just do something like this, maybe. But that's still using carries that function orthogonally overall. I think a baseline of having one character dedicated or like intended for your Bennett team, one intended for your Shovelers team, and one intended for your Farina team is probably the best way to prepare an account for medium-term Siege and Onslaught stuff. For long-term, I mean, the reality is that if they keep the power creep trend up, they're probably going to release new supports that are just better than these. Will they ever release actual Bennett power creep? I'm starting to doubt that'll ever happen. But it's very likely they'll release more characters like Shovelers that, like, restrict your team options to a specific archetype and that are very powerful within that archetype. I think pre-Natlon, the default things you would want to build around were incredibly different because the strongest teams were not that much stronger than Hyperbloom, and Hyperbloom was easier to play.
That's
and
a
so
lie.
at that point, your default team was like a Hyperbloom team, and then either a Bennett team
This is just Hyperbloom Blaze as always.
or a Farina team, or a
Nothing
team that uses
unexpected.
both Bennett and Farina. And yeah, you could go for a Bennett team and a Farina team instead, or like, you know, Overload on one side and Nevilet on the other. But that wasn't much better than a Hyperbloom plus either of them. But with your team's damage ceiling going up
Need
and
to
up,
double
and
this.
them releasing multiple carries that get closer to these new ceilings without releasing proper upgrades to Hyperbloom teams, that's starting to be less and less the case. Hyperbloom is still usable in the current Stydian Onslaught. Hyperbloom is definitely one of your team options, but it's not ideal. I've done a decent amount of viewer Stydian Onslaught on the weekly Stydian Slaughter Day, which, by the way, every Saturday I do viewer Stydian Onslaught on Twitch, so come follow me on Twitch. Maybe it'll be you next. I've done a decent amount of viewer Stydian Onslaught, and most of the time I try to use a Vate carry here, whether it be Malika or Alicino. But on accounts that don't have Malika or Alicino, or on accounts that do have them, but only one of them, and they don't have one of the good carries like Finish or Marissa against a Lava Dragon statue, I tend to not use these Vate carries and instead use Hyperbloom. Out of all of the accounts that I've tried, I think the fastest Hyperbloom clear was like Fearless, right? Difficulty 5 was like about 100 seconds. And the slowest was like around 115. I don't think there's any of the accounts where I had a level 90 Hyperbloom unit available that I didn't succeed on clearing with Hyperbloom. Basically, the Hyperbloom teams are still enough to clear, but it's getting close to not.
This is
We don't know yet if
Hyperbloom Blaze. Why are we talking about Hyperbloom for like 3
depends on
hours?
increasing Stydian Onslaught HP requirements, the same way they increase Abyss HP requirements. It's possible they don't, since Stydian Onslaught is a lot more team-specific than Abyss.
Hello. Hello, Havak. We are looking at a suggest video. We are modding.
They can sell the new carry without making it so that the only team that has the DPS to clear it is a new carry team, as long as the only team that has the mechanics to clear it is new carry team. Right, so maybe HP requirements will not increase significantly in Stydian Onslaught. I think that's a lot more possible than this HP plateauing, but who knows. One of the biggest effects of the carry power creep we've seen in that one is the loss of value of what most people call sub-DPS units, right? Units where their main purpose of the team is dealing damage, but they're not a dedicated carry, they don't require field time. The reason why they're getting worse and worse, or rather, the reason why the old ones are seeing less and less play, is because when your carry does double the damage of an old carry, it means that if they're doing 100% of the team DPS gets doubled. But if they're doing a third of the team DPS only increases by a third. In other words, the stronger the carry, the less you care about the off-fielders having personal damage. And the more you'd be willing to sacrifice your off-fielders'
There's
personal
like
damage.
static noise whenever you speak. Multiple people said that already, but I don't know how to fix it. Oh, do you mean this? Do you also mean my thing? Because I can't. It's my fan pulling the thing. I don't get it. Why? Why? I literally filtered it. Okay, it's fine. As long as I don't sound static, like my voice is crispy or something, I'm sure it's fine.
For a buff on your carry. Nowadays, characters like
Hey,
Ken
guys.
actually provide a buff powerful enough to be fairly competitive with characters like Snow and Skirk. Even if it's only about 40% damage, because Skirk does so much more damage than the old carry too, it's kind of enough to make Candace
can't
competitive.
tell
Sending her
what
more
you're
money
saying.
versus
What?
Bond, right?
What do you mean? It's very loud. How is it loud? It's like it's 2 meters away. I just turned it off. Did it get any better? Maybe it wasn't that noise then. Hello.
Milani as a support is a hilariously inefficient thing, right? All you get is Cinder City and TDS. There's literally no part of Milani's kit itself that does anything. And yet, Milani support is still arguably the best last line character. Like, it's comparable to Shenna. That's just because, like I said, more and more, the carry's damage gets higher and higher, and that increased damage is disproportionately affected by buffs over off-fielders' personal damage. Will that be something that keeps up in the future? Yes and no. I think that's something that's going to keep being the case for the off-fielders, but Inefa seems to indicate that they realize that, and they're going to make off-fielders that have more personal damage that they actually are worth. Characters like SFK will also exist, right? Characters that have off-field damage, but the
Okay, is it any better? I unplugged it and plugged it in because there's nothing else I can do.
also do a lot of other things for your team, but it doesn't seem like that's the only sort of off-fielders they'll keep releasing, right? Inefa is not a character that has much value outside of her off-field damage, but her off-field damage is a lot higher than what you see on old characters. So I think the optimal Farina build is an incredible indicator of how things have changed. If you look at Farina's release, Farina's best set by far at the time was Golden True. But since the carries they release are getting stronger and stronger, there are more and more teams where the best set on Farina is actually Tenacity of the Villain. Because losing 70% damage on Farina in exchange for 20% HP on her and 20% attack on the rest of the team is actually worth it because 20% attack on your carry is better than all of that damage on her.
That's not because that doesn't have that's not because of that. That's just because Novilette was the best carry or like the best carry to use Farina at the time. So Farina's build was obviously going to be going through. But they're still static. There's nothing I can do. I don't get it. Problem. I'm talking to the mic. Okay, well, I can't do anything about the noise, so I don't know. Is it that bad that you can't hear me anymore?
Stronger. Nowadays, the only time when I want to put my Farina on Golden True is pretty much when I play Navidad. A lot of the times when I do viewer city onslaught and people are playing this Comic-Con for the Farina team, I look at the build, it's a pretty good Golden True build. I change it to the worst COM build you've ever seen, and we get to clear because we changed the build. Anyways, I don't know what NOD-KRAI has in store for us when it comes to the meta. I'm torn between being excited and apprehensive. On one hand, it's fun when you get new characters that are worth using. I like theory crafting new things, and I'm not a huge fan of theory crafting a 30k DPS team that's just completely awful. On the other hand, I don't like when old carries and old characters in general become irrelevant. I think that's a sad thing when it happens. And I mean, there's already a few characters to whom that happens. Characters like Raiden nowadays feel awful. There's a few accounts already that I went on. They had like C2 and Raiden, and they weren't able to clear a lot of Raiden on Dire. They had a C0 Larissa, and I changed the Larissa, and it's unfortunate for people who like those old characters. In any case, Natlan meta really did change everything. If you look at the strongest teams in the current meta, pretty much none of them are made up of only characters that came out before Natlan. The Cinder City set also obviously played a pretty big role in that. Who knows? Maybe
this is so true.
Will actually make the non-Natlan supports better. Right? We know that we're getting new mechanics in non-KRAI with lunar reaction, and while we've had stuff leaked about it, nothing too set in stone, but it's pretty obvious that the artifact set that gets released in non-KRAI is going to have something to do with those lunar reactions. Now, if the Traveler gets some sort of way to enable lunar reactions, that could buff a lot of the different elemental Travelers with that new set. But even without
that would be the same as the Harmony MC all around Remembrance and Orchestra, which I really hope that they do, because this is one of the reasons why HSR currently has a better structure in their, or like, is both more F2P friendly as well as just easier, kind of like, it's not really easier, but it's the end game is still pretty difficult, but
It's more... It's just better in my opinion. And that's just because the Traveler is actually a relevant character that you can use in different teams, both Remembrance and Harmony of like, yeah. And also obviously them releasing multiple 3-5 stars.
As much as it can feel rewarding to successfully clear City Onslaught, the reward for it is not 3 modems. Personally, I care about the Dust of Enlightenment more than I care about that. The only thing that a Dust of Enlightenment does is it makes your build a little bit better. And if you're not focusing your time on clearing the modems, you're all in all, this is the sort of reward that is good to get, but not necessary. It's also important to realize that the more better you have, the more you can get the more back more, the less likely it is that you will lose. So as much as it can feel nice to get other things, it's rewarding. Don't let it cloud your judgment too much if that's not the main reason you play the game. And so just keep in mind that this is a multifaceted game. Don't let the meta make you feel like you have to get something if it's not really worth. But also, I don't recommend overly ignoring the meta because you will experience some sort of frustration if the characters you go for and the teams you build don't perform at all. You will all personally, I'm asking finding a middle ground that works better. For me, that middle ground is much more meta created than the more passive character, either level design, story involvement, or even gameplay itself. For example, I really like playing Marissa because I like her gameplay, but if Marissa was bad, I don't think I can. I like playing Gami when things go right, but because things go wrong and because it's awful in overall because everyone's virtualized on the team, I care about it. I actually
Not him shit talking Gami. Gami isn't that fast to play, okay?
Like he's not that good, so I don't play him. But also, Malika is certainly better than Marissa, but if I'm given the choice between the two, I will always right now, and for the past like 3 weeks, my Malika is on a fast range course because when I farm the lane, I don't have fast on my Malika. My Solar doesn't have enough energy to reverse fast in the amount of time it takes me to win.
Okay, he is actually base Favonius. I will say Favonius on Malika, it's very base.
So like I said, right, I do lean a lot more towards that side, but that doesn't mean that
But that's confusing because he is the one that says, he was the one that said that it's sad to put input on Malika Infinite Teams. So why does he have no problem with putting on Favonius?
Anyway, find your middle ground, find where you're most comfortable, how much meta power you're willing to sacrifice for characters and how much you're not willing to sacrifice, and make your decisions based off that. Don't spend much time in the game, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, YouTube.
Okay, wait, the end of the video was fine, but I don't want to. Okay, we are not doing any more. Not really. Okay. That was painful. Time to put the Animal Crossing music back. Okay. Maybe I can find something to react to that instead of that. To clarify, my fandom meta isn't that she's this super universal must-pull top 5 support. Just that for a majority of the older units like the Sumera class and any of the cats that didn't get that much from NAD and supports, she just seems like a very effective way to raise them up to be more relevant, and this is before she has a signature artifact, which would make her a lot stronger. Interesting. If you want to main Aoife, getting a free 10k increase taking place tunes from decent to some more competitive seems like a massive upside to me. Or if you main Alicino and now sideways someone like Sidali or Shimano to another team. That's also true. Not a must for universally, just if you have the character. Flip is definitely correct. But I mean, I do agree with most of the states. So. Unless, I mean, he still thinks that Bruno is the best character in the game. I think. So, Navia Golden first. Okay, actually I have one more thing to do. I kinda need to try to clear this. I still like try to use the Gin onslaught difficulty type on my alt account. I don't think it's going to go well, but maybe I can get it. The problem is the seconds. Problem is the seconds. The Ganyu side. So you could source automaton. Why automaton? The mic quality is still bad. Still bad. I really hope it's not. Okay, I guess I should give like some kind of conclusion for the like I didn't even get a down the I must start. I guess I cleared it in. It's it. Okay, well, this is probably going to be easy. Wait, I can't use. Yeah, I guess we're using Viola. Doesn't allow me Chevy and I don't know what I should play in the last line. Too close. Instructors too close? Let's do nice. Okay, fine. Even though it doesn't do anything. 7k HP. Nice. I got it. Okay. Yeah, if I can't deal with this, then it doesn't matter, so I would just give up. Oh, I forgot you can't poke. Oh no, this is not looking too hot. Make it best. Die! Oh no. I think I will try this another time. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming to. I hope you all enjoyed it, even though there was the mic issues, which I have no idea why my mic is acting up recently. Maybe I threw it off the table too many times, but yeah. We will see each other on the episode, hopefully with maybe a tier list or something. Could be. Could also be the Electro episode, the longer awaited one. Anyway, thank you